And now we're finally seeing these prizes come down. We are just seconds away from opening this first turn up between Tord Reklev and Shintaro Ito. We got to see one Blacephalon prize, and really nothing terrible there besides that. Now for Tord Reklev, we see one Welder, one Jirachi, one Victini.
Yeah, the Victini Prism Star is huge.
Yeah, the Victini Prism Star being prized could be trouble here for Tord, as it's also in a really unnatural placement in these prizes. But either way, we are still now about to get underway as we have Tord Reklev against Shintaro Ito in this top 4, this semifinal in this Masters division in the 2019 Pokemon Trading Card Game World Championships. Will Tord Reklev be one step closer to finally becoming the world champion he has dreamt up for over a decade, or will Shintaro Ito bring Blacephalon to the party with Mega Audino and become a 2-time world champion himself? These are the storylines that we are about to see unfold between us.
Doesn't get much better than this. Folks, just sit back, be entertained. You're about to see 2 Pokemon Masters at work. I hope this is an excellent match. Tord, starting with his best Pokemon, Jirachi, gets to use Stellar Wish right away. Shintaro, I think starting with his worst Pokemon, Heatran GX. That's really a Pokemon you want to drop down as a surprise at some point in the game. It's got a huge retreat cost. You don't want to start with it, but he is forced to here. It's the only basic Pokemon in his opening hand.
Yeah, you even see how the Burning Road ability kind of takes advantage of the fact that he's on the bench. He never really wants to be active. He wants to be, he being Heatran, wants to just never be in that active position until he's ready to attack. And of course, starting with it is just not a good spot to be in. Now, with that said, Tord Reklev is beginning this first turn of the game and of this match, as the first play we see here is finding a Reshiram and Charizard GX to follow up on this Jirachi, which is currently still in the active position, still has not used Stellar Wish.
Yep, Tord just taking this first opportunity to look through his deck, see what cards are prized. I'm sure he noted Victini Prism Star was prized, which he's probably not happy about. And he'll go from here. He does have the advantage of going first. He can play down Reshiram and Charizard GX, get an energy on it. I think typically this deck does not match up well against Blacephalon. Blacephalon is a tag team destroyer. If you find your B-strings on the right turn, you can use that mind-blown attack and just blow up tag teams at will. Take 3 prize cards at a time. The key for Tord in this matchup is that he has non-tag team attackers. He has that Victini Prism Star. He's got Turtonator. He's got the Heatran GX. And if he can use them effectively, he might be able to keep up in the prize trade. But if he's forced to use Reshiram and Charizard all game, I mean, it might just be simple math. Take 3 prizes twice, you win. If you knock out 2 Blacephalon, you don't win. Another
big key for Tord here is also that that Welder that he just found after that Dedenne. Dedenne, of course, Dede change just so prominent in this format. Just such a powerful ability to have. And it did draw Tord into a very good hand of Welder plus 2 fire energies. So now we can start seeing some potential aggression out of Tord if he wants to do so. He has yet to use Stellar Wish, so he could still do that, or he could draw 3 cards off of Welder first. Looks like he's going for the Welder.
Yeah, may as well. You got the 2 fire energy. You're going to do it anyway. Draw 3 cards. Give yourself more information, and then you can Stellar Wish later. He is going first, so he won't be able to attack quite yet. Imagine if you could still attack going first. You would just announce Double Blaze GX and win the game.
With Welder in the format, I don't think anybody would play anything but Welder cards.
And a huge Super Scoop Up. He gets heads.
That Super Scoop Up rolled with Flare, and with the heads to go with it.
That might not look very important, but Tord plays a lot of Dedenne GX. He relies on it quite a bit. And Shintaro has that Naganadel GX with the Venom shot that can do 170 damage to any Pokemon. It can destroy Dedenne GX as it's sitting on the bench. It can be easy 2 prize knockouts. So whenever Tord can pick up those Dedenne GX and put them into his hand, those are potential easy prizes he's denying later in the game.
Something that separates Tord from the rest of the pack is that he was willing to he wanted to find out what would happen with the Super Scoop Up before he made any type of additional decisions. So he went with the Super Scoop Up, found out he got heads, so he knew he was going to bring up that that Dedenne, and now he decides to Stellar Wish with additional information in his hand. Now he'll be able to make a much more educated decision, maybe a Pokemon communication because he wants to get rid of a Dedenne, for example. Something along the lines might make more sense than would previously if he hadn't used that Super Scooper before. Now, that is the card that he goes with. He goes with the communication. Sure enough, shuffles that Dedenne right back into the deck, just as we had just mentioned. And that means that any Pokemon from his deck will be coming back into his hand. That could mean something like a Vulpix, for example. And it sure does, as that is going to be the Pokemon that Tord is going to choose. Of course, Vulpix is going to be one of those key Pokemon to get into play early on, as that's going to start to threaten the Ninetales from here on out. From that point on, Shintaro is going to have to start wondering if Ninetales is going to spell disaster for him, and if it does, then you want to try to avoid certain plays.
Yep, excellent first turn from Tord. You couldn't really ask for anything more than this. 3 energy onto the Reshiram and Charizard. He gets the Vulpix down. He's got a Jirachi with an Escape Board. I wonder, he'll probably just have to pass the turn with Jirachi active.
Yeah, and he has Ninetales in hand already, so definitely a very powerful hand here and start here for Tord, as the Jirachi stayed asleep, which means Shintaro now gets his own first turn of the game. We get some key cards here. First card played is Mysterious Treasure.
Yeah, now this Heatran GX is a horrible starter. Shintaro actually doesn't play any switch in his deck. No Tantaliza, no switch, no way to actually move the Heatran GX outside of paying to retreat. But what he can do is have kind of a pseudo burst GX. That's typically what you do on your first turn with Blacephalon GX. Try to burst GX, discard one of your prizes. But instead, he can hot burn GX with Heatran and knock out Jirachi. So not quite a burst GX, but gets a knockout and basically the same thing.
Yeah. And the thing is, too, is it keeps applying pressure, right? Like, that's one of the main things that you really want to do. And here's another thing, too, is that we haven't really expanded upon. Shintaro built this deck with Tord's deck in mind. Maybe not the exact version, but he built the deck with Reshiram and Charizard as one of the key enemies of the format. So everything we're about to see from Shintaro here is a well-designed strategy specifically made with this Reshiram and Charizard deck in mind. And you can't necessarily say the same for Tord's deck.
Yeah, I'm sure he's played against Blacephalon before, but this is not a matchup you want to see. Blacephalon typically favored against tag team decks, but it does come down to crucial turns where you can find those Beast Rings. And may have noticed earlier, there are 2 Beast Rings in his prize cards. So when it comes to that crucial turn, it might be difficult for him to find them. He does get the Heat Factory Prism Star into play, which will benefit both players in this matchup, both playing Fire Energy. He wants to draw extra cards. Basically, it comes down to how well does the Blacephalon deck set up. If it draws everything it needs, it tends to win. But if it ever stumbles, misses those Beast Rings, it can end up in turns where it doesn't knock out the tag teams in one hit, and then it's just not as good.
How about that APM from Shintaro, by the way? Those actions per minute. Shintaro playing blazingly fast. You'd believe that there's like 30 seconds left on the clock. Just very, very well practiced, I guess is probably the best way to put that. He knows what he needs, and he knows what he wants.
He was a lot more methodical when playing against Isaiah, against that control deck. And there we do see the hot burn. Jirachi going to take 100 damage.
All right, there is that hot burn GX, just like you mentioned earlier.
Ooh, and he missed the Beast Ring. There are still 2 in there.
All right, so he did miss the Beast Ring, but he has already taken his first prize of the game on the first turn of the game, and now this is where Blacephalon starts to feel threatening, right? You have a couple of Poipoles in play. You have a couple of Blacephalons. You're now starting to threaten these big Reshiram and Charizard GXs. So are you going to keep committing resources to Reshiram and Charizard? Of course, it feels like you have to at this point. But is that is that a safe line of play? Is your opponent ever going to be able to just get something along the lines of 6 Fire Energies into play? And if he does so, then are you going to have a response? These are all things that are going through Tord's head right now. That Heat Factory will allow him to have additional resources available to him, but he actually chooses to just attach a single fire with that welder. Does not feel like he needs a double Fire Energy turn currently. and has not used Heat Factory yet. Just drew 3 cards with that welder.
Yeah, I think Tord's plan may have been to Dead-8 change this turn and keep drawing through his deck, but he drew another welder off of his welder. And there is 1 welder prized. As he noted, there are only 4 supporter cards in his deck. He does play Pal Pads to shuffle them back in, but those are precious resources, and he might not want to Dead-8 change them away. Still a great start. I mean, turn 2, he's going to attack with Reshiram and Charizard, but it's gonna get real quick. He's gonna take 2 prizes, and then the Beast Ring turn is coming.
Exactly. So, well, the Beast Ring turn is coming. With that said, Shintaro does have 2 Beast Rings in his prizes, right?
Yeah.
Does he have any in hand? Have we been able to find out? I don't believe so.
We'll find out.
I don't believe he currently does, but definitely could be wrong. But Tord still fears it. Tord has no idea that these Beast Rings are in his prizes, and Tord definitely has that in mind, as he's got to be very careful about when he knocks out certain Pokemon. And in the meantime, though, what kind of play are you setting yourself up for if you don't use the Dene this turn? Do you have another Reshiram and Charizard that you can power up with the welder on the following turn? If not, then maybe it's worth it to Dene. He does have a Turtonator on his bench, though, so that's definitely going to be a potential attacker, and it looks like that's definitely going to be the route he chooses to go with.
Yeah, you can see the plan here. He's going to attack with Reshiram and Charizard. If it gets knocked out, he gives up 3 prizes, but then Shintaro's still at 2, so if he can attack with a non-GX like Turtonator and get a knockout, he can potentially set himself up to win in 3 turns. So we see the Flare Strike. He's down to 4 prizes, and this is the huge turn where Shintaro needs to respond. Strong start with the welder. Does he find the Beast Rings, though?
There's no Beast Ring in sight quite yet.
The Heat Factory.
Heat Factory. You have to believe that if he had a Beast Ring, he would have already used it to get rid of some certain fire energies.
And there we see Ultra Space.
Ultra Space replacing that Heat Factory. Ultra Space finds the Necrozma GX.
Naganadel GX has the...
Naganadel GX, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you know, one of those things.
Yeah, starts with an N and ends with GX.
One of those purple-looking things. Yeah, he's going to grab this. Typically, you go for the charging up Naganadel to get extra energy in play, but Shintaro knows this is where I need to play Beast Ring. I need to draw 3 cards and draw one of those Beast Rings. Otherwise, I'm in some trouble.
All right.
And those don't look like rings.
I think there's only 3 total Beast Rings in the list. Now, that could obviously be wrong, but if there is, that means that there's only 1 in the entire deck. So it's not unlikely for him to miss, but it still feels terrible as you see just Shintaro kind of have to sit back,
and you saw
take in the moment that he's definitely missed out on these Beast Rings that were so important for this turn. Remember, if Shintaro was able to knock out this Reshiram and Charizard GX, he would have just taken a huge, huge lead in this game, but instead does not, and now he's starting to shake his head. Instead, just forced to play a reset stamp for 4 cards.
He knows he missed a big opportunity here, and his hand is even more frustrating. He drew another Naganadel GX, but there's no Ultra Beast in his hand to discard for Ultra Conversion. So it's pretty much worthless on this turn. And now he's trying to figure out, well, what do I do now? The plan this turn was to play Beast Rings, Mind Blown, and knock out this tag team. Now I'm going to have to try to use Bursting Burn? Is that my best option? Try to confuse the Reshiram and Charizard and hope that works out? I think that's all you got. You're not going to Mind Blown for 100.
Well, right. You're not going to Mind Blown for any amount of damage right there. But Bursting Burn is just so dangerous toward Reklev's build, right? Like, he's just so aggressive with Jirachis and stuff that you have to believe that there's a very good chance he draws into a switch of sorts. Yes, you did reset stamp your opponent, but the deck is designed with switch in mind.
Yeah.
No switch in hand yet, though.
He did get reset stamped. I mean, that's legit.
That's correct. Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, and it's really important to note this, is that it was still by far going to be the best play for Shintaro there. Mind Blown was just not going to do enough. There's no point in going that route. You might as well hope that your opponent doesn't have the switch. But the problem is, at this point, Shintaro has no idea. He's still feeling very, very nervous. He's still feeling very, you have that like that gut feeling deep inside where it just doesn't feel right quite yet. And until your opponent passes or chooses or decides to roll to attack, until that moment happens, you're not going to feel comfortable.
Tord taking a look through his deck with that Ultra Space. His hand is not very good right now. He has just an Acrobike to dig for more cards. He's got a couple Fire Energy, a couple Giant Hearth. He was debating whether or not to even play the Stadium because it might benefit his opponent, but...
Yeah, he could play the Giant Hearth to try to thin the deck a little bit.
I think that makes sense to me, but I guess he just doesn't want to give energy to his opponent. And he finds a Dedenne!
A huge Dedenne there. Wow, okay, so the Dedenne is obviously going to be the card he chooses. Let's go with that Reshiram and Charizard tag team. That Dedenne breathes new life into Tord Reklev's hand.
If Tord knocks out this Blacephalon this turn, it's game over. We have skipped B-String entirely. He's ahead a bunch of prizes. There's just no way to come back when you're playing this Blacephalon deck. You really rely on that 1 or 2 turn window where you get to play B-Strings and accelerate energy and get huge knockouts. If Tord can somehow knock out this Blacephalon, go down to 2 prizes, he'll basically seal this first game.
Really important energy drop here by Tord. Not sure where he wants to attach it. Decides to attach it on Jirachi. I agree with this completely. Wants to just have a switch. Switch is really everything he's going to need right here from Dedenne.
Switch
Did it change?
Nice. Welder wouldn't be bad. All right.
Finds 6 new cards, but I didn't find the goods yet.
No, he finds a Super Scoop Up. That's not going to do it. And I think...
Well...
do you flip a coin here?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, always yes. No, seriously speaking, I think you do. Like, I mean, if you don't, then you're just giving Shintaro that many more opportunities to knock you out. If you get heads, then the game's over, right?
Pretty much.
If you get tails, then, I mean, your opponent still has to get lucky. Your opponent still has to find the resources he needs. The extra damage isn't going to matter much.
Well, it's awkward because he's still burned. He's going to take 2 more damage counters between turns. If he flips tails, that puts him at 70 damage, and that means it only takes 4 energy to Mind Blown for the knockout. The tails on Confusion here would actually be super relevant, but of course, if you flip heads...
the game's over.
Pretty much. I mean, it's not 100%
right.
over, but it's close.
I mean, ultimately, Tord knows better than me, but... I do feel like in this particular circumstance, you are warranted to take a little bit of a walk on the wild side.
These are the decisions you need to make if you're going to be the world champion. I think Tord knows how big this moment is. He's just trying to weigh the odds, trying to figure out, is it worth going for this coin flip? Oh, boy.
I'm sure that's exactly what's going through his mind right now. I'm sure that he's just weighing the pros and the cons.
He's trying to figure out.
Would you flip?
Yes, I would.
My man.
I think people are too afraid to flip for Confusion. I think it feels terrible when you get tails and it sticks with you. It's like you just feel like a complete moron when you flip tails, right? Like,
jeez. Don't sugarcoat it, why don't you?
In this situation, especially when you're like, you flip tails, now there's 70 damage on your Pokemon. You now made it so it's 1 less energy to Mind Blown for the knockout, but look at the upside. If you flip heads, you just basically close the game out, and if you flip tails, you're not even losing for sure. But he's going to retreat.
Oh, he's retreating. He disagrees.
I don't fault this play at all. It's going to force Shintaro to have a lot of stuff to go after the Reshiram and Charizard, so I understand it from that point of view, but I would have done it.
Here's the thing also is we have the bird's eye view, right? We see that there are 2 B-Strings prized.
Yeah.
He has no such luxury, and I believe that's 1 more incentive for going. Well, that's the major incentive for going after that knockout. You can just completely lock your opponent off of B-Strings. You can just say, this is it. You're going to have to find a way to knock me out with what you got, and Welder just won't carry you from here on out. But instead, does go with, quote-unquote, the safe route And now he does get to use Jirachi to Stellar Wish here.
Just find a welder.
Finds a welder.
It's going to be super important for next turn. Something else you have to factor into your equation here is how good do you think this matchup is? If you think you're unfavored to win this matchup as a whole, I am more likely to take a risk like that. If I think I'm a 40-60 underdog and I get a coin flip to win the game, I'm taking it.
Right.
But maybe Tord looked at it and said, if I retreat, I think my odds are better than 50-50.
Okay. Definitely a potential way to look at it. There is a huge roll here from the Super Scoop Up.
That one's tails.
And it's a tails. I don't know how huge it was, but it was a roll for the Super Scoop Up.
It's pretty big. It picks up Dedenne off the board, which could be relevant in a couple turns. So he does find the welder. He can attach these two energy. He's debating between Turtonator and Reshiram and Charizard, and he's going to go for the non-GX. I like this play. Just makes it so your opponent has two targets. If they have the double custom catcher,
sure,
they can go after the Reshiram and Charizard to take 3 prizes, but if they do, then the Turtonator is still there. Or they can go after the Turtonator, but if they do, they only get 1 prize. So I like splitting up your energy there.
All right, now that's the end of the turn for Tord as he rolls to see if Jirachi wakes up, but
it is.
Yeah, no longer bedtime, Jirachi. Wake up. Alarm just rang.
Yeah, so we had a blazing fast start for both players, and then the following turns for both players, honestly pretty disappointing for both of them.
Slow to a crawl for sure.
Looks like we do have a little bit of table talk here.
Yeah, I mean, and you said it right. Both players just had such great hands to start the game off that you got really excited, right? You got to see, 2 great players butting heads with some great hands. But then the decks started to raise a lot of questions for both of these players that they have yet to answer, really. Question for Shintaro, where's your Beast Rings?
Well, he drew a welder. That's pretty good, too. He can get 2 energy into play.
And attaches them to that Naganadel.
Yeah, he still can use Ultra Conversion if he finds an Ultra Beast. And there's the Ultra Space.
Ultra Space can find himself an Ultra Beast. So he will be able to use Ultra Conversion. He gets to look through his deck.
He's digging for custom catchers, digging for Beast Rings. He wants a big turn here. He wants to punish Tord for retreating there. And Tord must not have expected this after a pedestrian turn. He's probably hoping that not a whole lot would happen.
Yeah, I think it was less expectation and more hope than anything. Because even though Shintaro did have, like you mentioned, a pedestrian turn, he still drew a lot of cards. Shintaro drew a lot of cards. His hand was not small at the start of this turn. So Tord had to know that there was some potential for some heavy mischief here out of Shintaro. And sure enough, Shintaro is starting to get a little bit mischievous here as he's now just drawing and drawing and drawing, and there seems to be no end in sight here, as now we're starting to see Shintaro start to fire on all cylinders, and it's on Shintaro to finish this turn off as strong as it's starting. But if he doesn't, then Tord's right back in it, and Tord's play looks a lot better that way. But if Shintaro does find a way to punish him for retreating, then you got to believe that Tord's going to be kicking himself for not going for that coin flip.
I think Tord's going to be safe, though. There's only 1 custom catcher in Shintaro's hand, and he's going to be put in an awkward position. He can Mind Blown and knock out this Jirachi, but then his Blacephalon GX is still in the fray, still in danger. And so he's got to make a tough decision. Does he want to retreat now? He can retreat into the Poipole and promote just a single prize Pokemon. Now, this kind of strategy is not as effective against someone playing 9 and 18 Fire Energy. They do have access to your benched Pokemon pretty much at all times with that 9 Temptations ability. But it's something you got to consider. And you also got to wonder how many reset stamps Shintaro has left. Maybe he's okay sacrificing this Blacephalon if he can reset stamp Tord down to just 2 cards on the following turn. These are very tough decisions.
Yeah, but if Tord counters that with something like say a welder with adding more energy to the field, then reset stamp just feels a lot more anemic, right?
And he actually decides to retreat, does not want to take the knockout with Mind Blow.
Both of these players are just playing so cautiously.
Yeah, I like this one better. I don't think there's much merit in knocking out the Jirachi here. The 1 prize you get probably doesn't matter, and it's not worth the risk of giving up a GX. Force your opponent to have the Fire Energy. Shintaro might not even know Tord is playing a million fire energy in his deck. He just counted his discard pile and he's like, whoa, there's like 10 in here. You must be out pretty soon, huh? But the truth is there's more. And you did counter the Giant Hearth, so it's not like he has those fire energy immediately. So you forced your opponent to have the energy to use that 9 Temptations ability.
I think that Shintaro can expect for Tord to have access to that 9 Temptations ability. I really do. Not because I know Tord's listed. I know that he plays 18 fire energies, but mostly because, you know, he can have Fire Crystal. He can have so many different things that can just spell disaster for this kind of a setup. And then, you know, what happens here? What happens if that Naganadel GX gets knocked out? What happens if that Blacephalon gets knocked out? All these things are just very bad for Shintaro, as once again, you know, we've seen no B strings, we've seen no acceleration out of Shintaro, and we're about to be completely out of that location. But here's a Welder and 3 additional cards drawn.
Just 1 energy. And Tord is debating using Stellar Wish here. He does not have a way to move Jirachi if he does that. He has no escape board, he has no switch in hand. So he would be hoping to find one of those, or he would just be content to pass the turn again with Jirachi active and try to keep powering up that Reshiram and Charizard in the back. This has turned into a weird chess match where neither player wants to make the first move. We went from all-in aggression early on to, let's take a step back. I don't know if I want to be the one making the first move here.
If it is a weird chess match where both players are trying not to make the first move, then one player's got to be making a mistake by playing defensively, right? They both can't be making the right play by playing chicken with the other.
All right, and Tord is going to take a calculated risk here. He saw there's still escape boards and switches left in his deck. May as well look at his top 5, and he's going to get the escape board.
Finds the escape board and does shuffle the other cards back into his deck. That escape board will allow that Jirachi to retreat without having to. Oop. Oh, nope. Okay. Doesn't go in your discard.
Yep. He caught it. All right, so I think right now Tord is favored. He's just got a lot of energy on board. He's going to have the prize advantage. He does right now. He's going to extend that prize lead.
I think as it stands, is Tord correct to just pass this turn? I think so. I don't think you want to attack into the, what is that, a Poiple?
He's going to do it. Here comes Heatran GX.
A 2-prize attacker.
Yep, going to use that Burning Road ability, move some energy off of his other Pokemon up to the Heatran GX.
You know, actually, I don't mind that because he gets to take one of that energy from that Jirachi, basically doing nothing there, and brings himself down to 3 prizes.
This is really risky, though. This sets up Shintaro for a 2-turn win. If he can knock out this Heatran GX and then knock out the Reshiram and Charizard GX on the following turn, Shintaro gets 5 prizes, and there's no way for Tord to take 3 in a single turn. So,
and then the Turtonator just kind of did nothing.
And Shintaro's still in Beast Ring range, still 3 prizes for Tord. So this is a big risk. We'll see if this one pays off. And Shintaro looking through his deck, there is 1 Beast Ring in there, and he's got a Heatran GX. He actually plays 2 in his deck. We usually don't see Heatran at all in Blacephalon decks, but he's playing 2 of them. And he's going to Ultra Space. Keep drawing through his deck with that Ultra Conversion ability on Naganadel GX. This is yet another huge turn. He wants to find Beast Ring, start getting knockouts. He cannot afford to wait any longer.
He still has 1 Beast Ring available in the deck, has yet to find it, but the deck is starting to get much, much smaller. We see a Welder first. Welder draws 3 cards. He finds that Beast Ring. It took him a long time, but it wasn't that deck, and it just required a few additional draws to finally be found. And there we go. We see that Beast Ring find those energies for that Naganadel GX, and now we're going to be able to potentially see a big-time attack out of Shintaro.
We do see the charging up ability get used. Oh boy, this is tense. I don't think he's used Ultra Conversion yet, so he could discard an Ultra Beast from his hand and draw 3 cards. And if he wants to dig for those custom catchers, he could target down the Reshiram and Charizard GX and take 3 prizes, go down to 2, and set himself up for perhaps a win on the next turn. This is where any mistake can cost you this first game, and you're in the top 4 of the World Championships. That's a lot of pressure.
Did his hand currently have one custom catcher?
Yeah, I think he's been holding on to one for a while.
Right, so with only one in hand, has already used Ultra Conversion, has already pretty much drawn everything he's needed to draw this game, or this turn, but could not find that second custom catcher. A huge turn here for both Shintaro and Tord. This could spell defeat for one of them.
Yeah, one of them will lose this game.
The turn, Kyle. The turn. Shintaro still has yet to make a decision.
Yeah, and it looks like we have some dispute going on at the table. You see the head judge no longer there. We have Brian, our translator, sitting next to Shintaro, but the head judge, or the table judge, is away from the table. So something we're not aware of appears to have happened. They're having some kind of discussion. So we'll try to get some updates on that. And once that gets resolved, we'll figure this out and resume the game. Hopefully nothing too serious. We got an excellent match between two of the legends of the game. Would hate to see it tainted by a mistake here, but we'll see what happens.
A dream match, like you said earlier. You know, really two of the best players in the game today. You can easily consider both of these players to be top 5, and for them to both be facing off in such a huge stage in the top 4 of the World Championships. It's a big time moment. It's a big time game for both of them, and it's the moment's not lost on them. And hopefully we get to resolve this issue, whatever the issue is, relatively soon. But let's take a quick second to actually recap what's been going on in this game so far. Both players had such aggressive starts. Just coming right out of the gates, you felt like it was just going to be a back and forth trade from turn 2 on, right? And then all of a sudden the brakes just kind of got slammed on both of their decks. And from that point on, we got to see them play kind of like a game of chicken, a game of, chicken and chess put together in a sense. And neither player was willing to start attacking until Tord finally said, all right, it's my turn. It's my opportunity. Let me attack you with Heat Ran. Let me finally start to get some momentum going. And now we're seeing it start to play out from there. But is that the right strategy? Was this the right strategy for Tord? Or should he have kept playing defensively from that point on?
Yeah, like I said, I would have flipped a coin there, but I am not Tord Reklev. I have not won 3 international championships, so what do I know? Yeah, this is going to be a tense game. I mean, if we needed any more drama, any more suspense in this game, how about pausing it for a few minutes and waiting for the most important turn of the game?
A very fitting moment, right? Very fitting situation for that to happen. But yeah, I think one of those things where you're no amateur, of course, but the amateur would always go like, of course you take the coin flip, right? Why not? 50% chance you almost win.
I actually think it's the other way. Most people are very gun shy when it comes to flipping for confusion. I think the majority of people look at it and go, I don't want that negative thing happening to me.
Sure, but I think
I'm gonna go out of my way to not flip for confusion.
But what I'm getting at is that Tord goes, all right, no, I'm Tord Reklev. I can do this, okay? I don't need a coin flip. I don't need to put my game on a coin flip. Let me try to find a way out of this.
I don't need a coin flip. Super scoop up.
And then just shakes the die with all that passion and all that vigor, and lets it ride there. But yes, of course, it's just a very interesting decision, and I think that it's going to bother him potentially if this game does not go his way, as that was a 50% chance to almost seal the deal right there. I mean, really, it would have still continued on, but it would have just been a much more difficult spot for Shintaro to climb out of. Of course, tails would have meant, well, now good luck, Tord.
A bad outcome, yeah. But even then, I don't know if he would have lost if he flipped tails. That's why I lean towards flipping the coin. I mean, we can talk about this all day. Ultimately, it really doesn't matter. But, I mean, it happened. He retreated, and we'll wait to see what the outcome is. But, man, this has been such a great tournament. I've loved seeing how the format has evolved after the standard format rotation. Right. The game feels fresh and new. We're seeing a lot of the same Pokemon carryover. A lot of the tag teams be pretty big still, but we didn't really see cards like Victini Prism Star have their moments in the standard format before. It showed up in that non-GX Blacephalon deck at the International Championships, but otherwise it just wasn't a card people played in their Reshiram and Charizard decks for the most part. We've seen more interesting moments where, a lot of games were almost decided at a certain point where it was like, I'm going to get my Guzma at some point, right? I'm going to win this. But now it's, I need to find 2 custom catchers at the same time. And we've seen a lot of games this weekend where it's just, yeah, he'll probably draw 2 custom catchers and win. They draw a bunch of cards, go, I got 1 custom catcher. What does that get me? And it turns out that's not a game-winning thing.
And here's another thing: who would have expected for there to be, 16 different welders in the top 4?
Yeah.
Really, like that's a really interesting part about this format, is that despite it being so wide open and despite there being so many decks, including new decks like, for example, that Mewtwo and Mew Tag Team GX Perfection deck, you still have that big bad welder being the most played card in the top 4.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting. Lily was played in almost every deck before the standard format rotation. It was just the supporter you wanted to play on the first turn.
Right.
You fill your hand up to 8 cards when it's your first turn. You would play things like Ultra Ball to dump cards out of your hand, and then it wouldn't be unusual to draw 6, 7, even 8 cards with Lily on your first turn. And you had Tapu Lele GX to Wonder Tag for it. So it was just so common to see 4 Lily in just about every deck. And I think when the rotation happened, everyone's first instinct was, okay, you put 4 Lily in your deck. That's just what you do. And what I noticed right away was, this card's not as good anymore. For whatever reason, even when I'm drawing at turn 1, I'm only drawing 3, 4 cards. It's just not the same. And I think a lot of that is due to the lack of cards like Nest Ball and Ultra Ball, items that you can play freely on your first turn, lower your hand size, and then draw back up. And I think a lot of the players who have done well this weekend have also realized that. We're seeing Tord not even bothering to play any supporter besides Welder. Right. Shintaro only playing 1 Lily in his deck. It's just been an interesting shift away from Lily and more towards other supporter cards.
And of course, you're going to play your Cynthias, you're going to play your other consistency cards, but the fact that Welder not only, draws you additional cards, but brings more aggression to the table, just really is starting to shape this format. We got to see how even some fire energies come into play for Mewtwo and Mew. Is just, that doesn't feel natural, right? Like it feels kind of like, whoa, what's going on here? And that's really starting to shape this format. Like having access to so many different powerful attacks from the second turn on, in some cases even the first turn, is just it's impressive, and that's going to be the story that the World Championships is telling.
Yeah. All right. Looks like our situation has been resolved. We're going to head back to our match here in the top 4 between Shintaro and Tord. Looks like Shintaro has received a warning for insufficient randomization. So we'll see. I don't think he's received any sort of prize penalty or anything like that, but
feels like it was just a warning.
Yeah, we will continue this match and head back to the action here at the World Championships. There's a lot on the line here. We took a nice little break, but we are back, and it is still Shintaro's turn. He played that Beast Ring, got the fire and the 1 psychic energy out of his deck that he plays pretty much exclusively for Naganadel GX's attack. And we have seen him use it to great success in earlier rounds.
Well, that derailed the momentum quite a bit for this match, but let's see if we can get that momentum going right back out. Of course, Shintaro is trying to take advantage of this situation with that Heat Ran being the active Pokemon. If he can knock out the Heat Ran, then he'll have just one last knockout remaining against that Reshiram and Charizard to take this first game.
Let's get that hype train running again, huh?
Yeah, well, let's try anyway. I believe he's already used everything, right? Like at least it felt like he had already used the Ultra Conversion before
I don't think he did.
Okay.
I've been watching the whole turn. I was surprised it was turned like he had used it.
Play this time.
Okay.
But we'll find out.
Okay, no worries.
Saying, look, I played Welder, I played Beast Ring. I think he's trying to argue his case that he hasn't used Ultra Conversion.
Yeah, it just felt off because, it was a little bit tilted to the side. And, and when he does that, normally it means he's used it.
Now Shintaro taking a look through towards discard pile, seeing how many energy have you used, how many welders have you used, trying to get a good sense of what he's going up against here and the final turns of this game. And there we do see Ultra Conversion, drawing 3 cards. I think he wants to find Custom Catcher so he can go after that big tag team on the bench.
I think you're right, but Yaoi, he does find that custom catcher, by the way. So he does have double custom catcher available to him if he chooses to use it. First mysterious treasure, though.
Can we get to know how much time we have left?
And look at how many cards are in his deck. Just 2 at this point. But hey, he only
Still got to randomize.
He only needs 2. Yeah. Is this sufficient enough?
Well, he's got me fooled. I have no idea which one started where.
And then the eternal question: would you like to cut?
Less than 40?
All right.
The answer for Tord, of course, always yes. I cube drafted with this man, and he always cut my deck every single time.
I mean, that's just what you got to do. I think I'm surprised that he didn't at least shuffle it too, but that's just me. So, Shintaro just down to 2 cards left in his deck, though. Double custom catcher, though, is just huge, and I think that may seal the deal.
There's a question of if you want to use it now or later, and he's using it now.
And the answer is now. So now that Reshiram and Charizard is the active Pokemon, it's, of course, going to get knocked out by Blacephalon here, and that's going to mean Shintaro's going to go down to 2 prizes remaining. Tord Reklev still has 3 remaining.
Needs to get rid of 5 energy cards with this Mind Blown.
Okay.
That's 250 damage. The Bursting Burn coming into play from earlier, putting the 2 damage counters on Reshiram and Charizard GX. And now Shintaro is faced with a tough decision. I don't know that there's a good answer to which energy does he send to the Lost Zone.
I think the 2 active ones.
It's tough.
Yeah, I can see why you'd keep 1, but.
All right.
Oh, he's going for just 1 from the active, 4
Yeah.
from the bench.
So the thing is, he wants to threaten the Venom Shot from Naganadel GX next turn. He's now down to 2 prize cards. If he can use that attack, he can knock out Dedenne GX and win the game next turn. So he's trying to leave himself in a spot where he's got 2 energy there, which means a Welder can win the game as long as he's got a couple energy left. But he understands Tord does have Ninetales, and he could target down the Naganadel GX, so he also needs to leave energy on his Blacephalon. It's just, I don't think there's a good answer. I think he's done the best he can, but it's a very, very tricky situation. I think people underestimate how difficult it can be to play this Blacephalon GX deck. Those decisions can be game deciding on which energy to send to the Lost Zone.
So you feel like he sent the right energy to the Lost Zone?
I think so, yes.
All right.
And Tord is just going to send out Heatran and use the Hot Burn GX. Going down to a single prize. But if Shintaro just has 1 more fire energy, he can just Mind Blown and win.
1 very fast turn from
no.
Tord.
That's a psychic energy. Oh, nope, charging up. He's got double custom catcher. He's got so many ways to win.
Yeah, huge
Shintaro takes game number 1 over Tord Reklev. He's 1 game away from heading back to the finals of a World Championships.
Huge double custom catcher, 2 turns in a row. As I mean, of course, he was down to a single card left in his deck, and you have to feel that it was bound to happen at that point. But it felt like the game was just so strange from beginning to end. Really, it started off so aggressively, and then from that point on, everything just became. I guess everything just led to a unique situation after unique situation.
Yep, I wonder if Tord's going to replay that game in his head and go, should I have flipped?
Well, I think we got the answer to that one now.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, you can't be that results-oriented, right?
Yes, I can.
All right, so now we're heading into game number 2. Tord will go first in the second game. I have to imagine there will be some kind of slight time extension as well for the lengthy ruling we have.
Time extension?
Yes. Yeah, it looks like we got 7 minutes added to the clock for this match. Hopefully we have enough time to complete all 3 games between these 2 legendary players in the Pokemon trading card game. If you're out there watching at home, get on social media. Use the hashtag #PlayPokemon or hashtag #PokemonWorlds. Tell us who you think is going to win this match. Will it be the former world champion Shintaro Ito with his Blacephalon GX deck, or will Tord Reklev make it to the finals of the World Championships and be 1 step away from his ultimate goal of becoming a world champion?
Like I said, the momentum may have been derailed there after game 1, and I'm sure that neither player felt very comfortable after that long ruling, took place. But then after this, you kind of have to just shake it off. that was game one. Game one's over. You still have plenty of time left on the clock. These decks can definitely get 2 games completed in within this time frame. At this point, shrug that game off, go back to the drawing board and try to come up with a new strategy for game 2. However, this time it's Tord who starts with Heatran GX.
Not an ideal starter by any means, but hey, when you got Welder in your deck, you can attack with it right away. 3 energy.
That's fair.
That's nothing. 3 energy used to be like unplayable. It takes 3 turns to power this thing up? No way.
Back in my day. But yeah, and now actually the first thing we see out of Tord is going to be that Cherish Ball finding himself that Dedenne. Very, very common play for Tord here, and actually discarding so many cards from Dedenne is not though. But luckily for him, that's the power of the deck, is that even these really poor hands get bailed out by Dedenne changing.
All right, so this is what happens when your only 4 supporter cards are Welder. You need to rely on that Dedenne change ability in the early stages of the game, heck, even in the middle and in the late stages of the game. See Super Scoop Up to pick up Dedenne and reuse it. Tord's hand here is not looking good. He just passes.
Yeah, he just passes there, but...
No Welder.
Yeah, he just passes there, but again, that's just what's going to happen, right? You only play 4 supporters. Sometimes you're not going to draw the Welder, and on the turns that you don't, you feel a little bit miserable there, but... Still, Shintaro has to...
He's got Welder.
Yeah, Shintaro has to show off the Welder right away as he does get to take advantage of that extra 2 energies and 3 additional cards.
Yeah, Shintaro's hand is not very good. He does not have access to another basic Pokemon besides Heatran GX. Not able to get any Poiple down. And I wonder if he'll go for Bursting Burn here and try to confuse this Heatran and put Tord into an awkward spot again. He could burst GX and discard one of his prizes, but no, he's going to go for the Bursting Burn. That'll put 2 damage counters on the Heatran GX between turns, and it is now confused.
So
using this...
I believe it's still Burn, too.
Yeah, he flipped tails, so it's still Burn. It'll take another 2 damage counters between turns. And Tord going to Cherish Ball for yet another Dedenne GX and dump his hand again. Just discarding his hand 2 turns in a row, putting down those fragile Dedenne GX. But he knows he needs to do something here. His hand is just full of energy once again.
And this is why he plays cards like Scoop Up and whatnot, to avoid having to just lose in situations like this one, right? But still, of course, Tord Reklev is going to be forced to discard another healthy hand full of energies, and I believe something like a Ninetales there, and just hope to draw into both a Welder, a potential attacker, and of course multiple fire energies.
Look instead, at the bright side. His Victini Prism Star is going to be very powerful.
Sure, that is the bright side, and he actually finds a couple of Jirachis, which are fine Pokemon, but
his hand is terrible.
Yeah, but his hand is terrible.
He at least fortunately drew an escape board, so he can attach a skateboard, attach an energy, and retreat. That feels terrible, but he's got to send out Jirachi and Stellar Wish. His hand just has nothing. He's got no Welder. He's got no resources. He's got no way to power up attacks. Doesn't have a switch or anything like that.
I know it's a tall order, but did you get a glance at Shintaro's hand while he was shuffling it really fast?
Yeah, he's got some B-strings.
Yeah, exactly. He's got B-strings, but I don't see anything really going on for him there either.
Yeah, but Tord did put the Giant Hearth in play, so he'll at least have access to energy.
Sure.
All right, we see the Stellar Wish. Tord finally hits a Welder off of that Stellar Wish, so he's at least got that now.
And because that Heatran is no longer burned, obviously he's now got a good target there for that Welder.
Yeah, although it's a little weird for Heatran, you always kind of want to attach elsewhere, because when you promote it or when you move it from your bench to the active spot, the energy come with it.
Right.
So you almost want to put it somewhere else.
Almost, but still not quite. Draws 3 cards from that Welder as well after attaching those 2 fire energies.
The question is, do you bench
Not another Welder?
Do you bench another Jirachi here? You have to expect this one's going to get knocked out.
If you do, you no longer have room for a Reshiram and Charizard. I mean, who knows if you even want to play the Reshiram and Charizard right now.
Right. All right, so not a very good start from Tord. And
Shintaro draws that Cynthia, or if he had it already, it was hidden
Yeah, and he just immediately goes Cynthia, not even playing any other cards from his hand.
That windmill slam Cynthia. That's when you know things are not ideal in your hand.
It's better than a Lily.
Fair enough. Truer words have not been spoken in this round. Shintaro Ito now is going to be able to shuffle his hand back into his deck, draw himself 6 new cards. We see from this perspective, you get to see just how, weak these players' boards are. You get to see just a few energies in play for Shintaro and 2 Pokemon, and then just no relevant attackers and a bunch of Dedenes from Tord. Neither player is showing off exactly what the true potential of their deck really is, and now Shintaro finally takes advantage of that Giant Hearth, finding himself a couple of fire energies after discarding a fire. So it's a little 2-for-1 special there. Mysterious Treasure discarding this fire that he just found. So you get to see the deck thinning in action from Shintaro. And now it starts to feel like Shintaro's really starting to get the ball rolling as he starts to play a Cherish Ball to go with that Poipole that he just found.
Yeah, this is an excellent turn for Shintaro. Gets the Poipole down, gets to attach an energy here. He'll probably take a knockout, and Tord's going to have to respond pretty quickly. He's under a lot of pressure. If you give Blacephalon decks time without putting pressure on them, they're just going to build up energy and eventually knock you out with Mind Blown. You're stuck in a weird spot where you can walk into their Beast Ring, but I think, in my experience, just putting pressure on them is more effective than trying to get fancy and skip around Beast Ring.
First prize taken by Shintaro. So now Shintaro 5 prizes away from advancing to the finals. He's been there before. He's hoisted that trophy up high before after defeating his opponent and with Mega Audino, no less.
Yep.
Can he do it again, this time with Blacephalon? Can the clown join the party?
Now Tord sends out that Heatran GX. He does have a Welder in hand, so he can go ahead and play the Welder, attach both energy to Heatran GX so he can use Hot Burn for 200, take the knockout. He's also going to need to attach an energy somewhere else, probably to a Reshiram and Charizard GX, although that could be a bit risky at this point. He may be forced to power up Turtonator at this stage of the game. This is going to be tough. It's going to be tough for him to piece together the right attack plan for the rest of this game. As you see, he actually grabs Dedenne GX. And of course, we're going to enter that very important turn where Shintaro is going to need to find those crucial Beast Rings, those powerful item cards that really make this Blacephalon deck work.
Okay, we're going to see a Welder before we see anything else, and that Welder is actually going to be going onto that Heatran, so that's 4 energy on the Heatran now. It will be able to knock out that Blacephalon.
Finds a couple Fire Energy and an Acrobike. So not bad draws at all.
Plays Jirachi.
I think Tord's game plan here has to be use his non-GX Pokemon after he attacks with his Heatran. You got to use the Turtonator, you got to use Victini Prism Star, and just hope your opponent doesn't find custom catchers or ways to target down the GXs on your bench. We do see the knockout with Hot Burn, and this is the crucial turn. Does Shintaro have Beast Rings? He has 1 in hand. Can he keep the pressure on with this Blacephalon deck?
There's that Beast Ring. Here we go. This is Shintaro's turn. This is where Shintaro likes to be. He wants to really take advantage of these Beast Ring turns, and if he can play multiples of them, then he can just set himself up for the remainder of the game with these energies. If he can't, though, then we saw how he struggles to really start to pull off a victory, and it took a lot more out of Shintaro when he didn't have access to Beast Ring last game. So a big turn here for Shintaro, and being able to play this Beast Ring right away just has got to feel good for him after seeing what could have happened in game 1.
And we see him discard that Psychic Energy to the Giant Hearth. He can go search for 2 Fire Energy. He drew a Welder for the turn, which is massive. He can get 2 more energy in play, and this is the kind of silly thing the Blacephalon decks can do. I've seen 9 energy come out of nowhere before these Blacephalon decks.
I mean, all that has to happen is that Welder has to find another Beast Ring, and then all of a sudden it just gets silly, right?
Yeah, it goes from 0 to 500 pretty fast.
There we
see
go.
If he finds another Beast Ring off of this Welder.
Shintaro drawing 3 cards off of that Welder after attaching 2 energies.
Hey.
There's a custom catcher and a Naganadel GX.
We'll see what he decides to do. I think he's got a regular Naganadel as well.
Yeah, I think the GX might be the play here because of the Dedenes on the board.
He's already discarded his Psychic Energy.
Oh.
So he may not be on that plan. Actually, it's a Poiple, it looks like. Never mind. So he does have Naganadel GX, but no Ultra Beast to throw away. Oh, he's got 2 custom catchers. He's debating, do I play one to draw 2 cards? It looks like he is. He wants that Beast Ring.
Custom catcher drawing 2 cards to join that custom catcher in his hand.
What does he find?
Even an Ultra Beast would be fine, right? Oh, he does find an Ultra Beast here. That's going to mean 3 additional cards drawn. He's looking for for Beast Ring. He's looking for more resources to bring into play on this explosive turn. Plays Mysterious Treasure. Has he already played a supporter for the turn? Yes, he has. It's the Welder.
Man, he...
Another Poiple.
His favorite thing to do with Hapu is discard it with Mysterious Treasure.
That's what the card's in there for. Sure enough, Shintaro now has multiple Poiple in play to join that Naganadel GX. Just so many energy in play now, 7 energy in play.
He's going to need to get rid of
4.
4, yeah. 200 damage. All right, and again.
How do you get rid of these 4? Same question as last time. It looks like this time he's keeping the same kind of strategy where 1 stays on the Blacephalon in the active spot and 2 stay on the Naganadel GX.
Yeah, that one's tricky. You're trying to figure out how likely is it that your Blacephalon gets knocked out here.
3 prizes remaining for Shintaro as he passes the turn over to Tord. Tord now power padding 2 Welders into his deck. Really, really important there for Tord. And now, remember, if Shintaro takes 3 more prizes, that's going to be it. That's going to be the end of Tord's tournament. That's going to be the beginning of Shintaro's potential run to a 2nd World Championship.
The game plan seems fairly clear for Tord here. He's going to attack with the Turtonator this turn with Explosive Jet. If he has a Welder and 3 Fire Energy, he can do 200 with that attack. Knock out Blacephalon GX, go down to 2 prize
Welder.
cards. And then on the next turn, try to knock out 1 more GX. Oh boy, this is going to be close.
Just such a tough spot to be in. So many difficult questions for Tord. Let me try that one more time. An unenviable position if I've ever seen one.
Well, it's weird. If he's the one who's drawing perfectly for the rest of the game, he's the one who's going to win. He's going to get a 2-prize knockout here. Shintaro can't take 3 prizes next turn. You see Tord immediately discarding the Reshiram and Charizard, saying, no way, not going to bench a tag team in this situation. So basically he needs a knockout here with Turtonator, and then on the next turn he needs to probably get Victini Prism Star and use Infinity to knock out another GX and get his 4 prizes that way.
Sure.
Now the bad thing for him, he has not gotten a Vulpix down at any point, so there's no Ninetales to work with. But I think at this point, the only Pokemon Shintaro can really attack with is going to be Heatran GX next turn. He's actually going to need to find Welder next turn if he wants to attack, so it's going to be perhaps an awkward situation. I guess a Naganadel and an Energy will also allow him to attack with Heatran next turn.
There's that Welder from Tord. Very timely Welder there. Draws 3 cards, but most importantly, brings 2 energy onto the field to play with that Turtonator. Now 3 energy on Turtonator for Explosive Jet.
This is tense. Any wrong move here eliminates you from the tournament, you have to believe, if you're sitting in Tord's seat.
Yeah, he's got less wiggle room than Shintaro for sure. And he now has to discard 4 energy to take these 2 prizes. So he does go down to 2 prizes himself. That's going to be 1 GX knockout away from taking this to a game 3. But it cost him every energy he had on the field.
This is interesting. If I were Shintaro here, I would send out a Poiple. I think your ideal turn here would actually be to Welder onto a Naganadel and end up using that Turning Point attack so that you don't have to put a GX in danger. Looks like he's going to send out the Naganadel GX, though, and figure out a plan. Maybe he's just accepting that I need to attack with Heatran GX this turn.
So when the wheels are spinning right there and you're coming up with a strategy of your Shintaro, that's what you're thinking when you promote the Naganadel GX then.
Yeah, I think he's just kind of hedging, saying this, I'm going to have to retreat into Heatran GX, so let's just promote the Pokemon with energy. And he grabs the Dedenne GX, so this gives him an option to draw a Welder as well. Boy,
Naganadel.
I don't think Shintaro is going to miss an attack the rest of the game. The onus is really going to be on Tord to close this one out. Although Shintaro does have the awkward situation of having Custom Catcher in hand. If he wants to Dede change with the Dedenne GX, he's going to have to throw away that Custom Catcher.
We saw one Naganadel get evolved from those Poibles.
There is one Custom Catcher in the discard pile already.
Dedenne?
Boy.
That's a risky one.
Yeah, I don't think it's any riskier than having a Heatran GX on your bench at this point.
Right. There we go, Dede change. 6 new cards here for Shintaro.
He's looking to burn through his deck at this point, perhaps looking for a reset stamp.
That would bring Tord down to a 2-card hand. Giant Hearth, of course, Beast Ring no longer useful, so might as well find an energy with it.
And he still does have 2 Custom Catchers left in his deck. I think he's trying to dig through as much of his deck as he can at this point. Trying to put himself in a spot where next turn he can play double Custom Catcher and knock out Dedenne GX for the win and move on to the finals here at the World Championships. You see the plan laid out. Can he execute it?
All right, Giant Hearth gets countered by that Ultra Space. Ultra Space finds another Naganadel. So now that's so many energies that are going to start hitting the field here for Shintaro. And you weren't wrong. It seems like Shintaro's just got everything he needs at this point with the exception of those Custom Catchers. Can he disrupt Tord at all, though? All right, looks like he's going to be drawing 3 additional cards here. Little conversion.
I don't think, has Shintaro played a supporter yet this turn?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, we'll find out.
Mysterious Treasure finds another Naganadel.
Question is, will he attack with Heatran GX this turn? And I think it's looking like yes. I don't think he's got any other Pokemon to attack with, and he definitely wants to put the pressure on. He needs to take a knockout here.
Yeah, I couldn't see why not, to be honest with you. I think with this kind of a setup, with this many energy on the field, you might as well just start lowering the clock for Tord here.
Tensions could not be higher here. Just one game separates Shintaro from the finals of the World Championships. For Tord Reklev, you're hanging on to your dream, trying to fight back here in game number 2. Just force a game 3. Give yourself a chance to still be in the running to be the world champion.
We said from the beginning that this was going to be a very, very difficult matchup for Tord, that Blacephalon was designed with Reshiram Charizard Tag Team GX in mind.
Wow, there are 16 fire energy in Tord's discard pile.
Which means there's only 2 energies left in the entire deck.
Exactly, he needs his exact 2 fire energy, and...
Are there any prize, though? There is one prized.
Oh, no. I may have, I mean, there was a quick count.
Potentially miscounted, yeah.
Yeah,
There is always a chance of a miscount. Especially when you're counting as many as 16.
Yeah.
I mean, you could miscount 16 just without there being any type of pressure on you.
Yeah, if there's 16 gone, I don't think Tord can even attack anymore.
Right, and that would spell disaster.
Yes. Astute observation.
I did the math, Kyle. 16 energy gone, 1 in the prizes. Spells disaster for Tord.
The numbers don't lie.
All right, so Shintaro now counting these energies. Would have been smart for me to count right there with him, but I didn't.
And you see Shintaro counting up those cards. Like, oh, there's so many energy in here. There's 3 Welder in here. What's the worst that could happen to me?
I'm sure that he's already feeling kind of incredulous that there's that many energies in the discard pile already, let alone in the deck.
He's really struggling with this decision. I think he's got no choice at this point. You have to retreat into the Heatran GX, attack.
What's the reasoning for not doing so? Like, what's Shintaro afraid of at this point?
I mean, he's afraid of getting his Heatran knocked out and losing. Yeah, he can actually.
By what series of cards? Victini plus
Welder and
Welder,
2 fire. That's
and a switch.
yeah, and a switch. Well, if he attacks with Heatran and gets the knockout, he can. Tord would have Jirachi, and Tord's going to look through his deck. There are no fire energy in his deck.
Yep, we're getting confirmation there from Tord. There are no fires left in his deck.
Is this the end of the road for our Norwegian player? Has he
Does he
finally run out of fire?
Any fires in his hand? One in hand.
Oh no, there's one in hand.
Looks like you did not miscount, unfortunately for Tord. There is only one fire energy left for Tord. I know he's good, but is he this good? Is anybody?
I think he was banking on hitting that last fire out of his prizes when he took the knockout on the last turn. I don't think he had any other real option. But this, of course, is disappointing. Does he have any way to recover energy from his discard pile? Anything like Fire Crystal?
Switches the Turtonator. Promotes Jirachi. Jirachi wishes upon a star and finds an escape board. Perhaps to escape out of this game.
And if there's a way out of this situation, Tord will find it.
The normally jovial Tord Reklev now looking at his options with a grimace on his face.
And Shintaro just has to wait in suspense. He has counted all of the energy cards in his opponent's discard pile. He's counted all the welders, all the resources that have been used. And he said, okay, I don't think you have what it takes to beat me. But you might, so I'm going to take this turn off and force you to have a way to bring out my GX.
Neither of these players is particularly stoic. They both tend to be more on the animated side. But you see how the moment is just taking them in. You know, they're both going through the motions. They're both trying to remain calm in this high intensity moment.
We're both counting how many cards are in each other's deck. It looks like Tord has 10, and Shintaro had 9 cards in his deck. I don't see any world where this ends in someone decking out.
Shintaro definitely not afraid of decking out there, as he shows by using Naganadel GX to draw 3 additional cards.
And remember that Shintaro is still at 3 prize cards, so that turning point attack for Naganadel will get the bonus damage and knock out this Jirachi. And he can go down to 2 prizes this turn and say, look, Tord, you have to win this turn. Otherwise, I have the 2 custom catchers. I have Heatran GX. I have not used my GX attack. I am going to win the game. Can you stop me?
Is he perhaps waiting for a reset stamp to feel a little bit more secure?
I mean, Tord didn't do anything that turn.
I mean, I agree. It's just one of those things where maybe Tord's playing possum in a sense. Maybe he's just waiting for that Heatran to become active.
I don't think you want to give your opponent another Stellar Wish, another out to this situation, especially now that the Vulpix is down. Shintaro probably doesn't know if Tord plays Fire Crystals or anything like that. I mean, in his eyes, we could see, you know, Ninetales come out, use the ability, bring out his Heatran, Welder onto Victini Prism Star, and win the game. So take away your opponent's Stellar Wish, force them to have it here. Because if he knocks out this Jirachi, Tord also has to promote something. It would force him to also have a switch. I think you just got to take the knockout here.
I believe so as well.
And the aptly named Turning Point. This is the turning point in the game where Shintaro will force Tord to have the answer. He's going to take the knockout, go down to 2 prize cards.
Okay, so Shintaro now about to use Turning Point. There it is. There's that Turning Point. 1 prize taken from by Shintaro. Tord still 2 prizes remaining, but Shintaro joins him now. 1 GX knockout away from either of these players completing this game. For Tord, it would mean he advances to a 3rd game. For Shintaro, it would mean he advances to the finals. Does Tord have an answer? He plays Pokemon Communication, shuffling in that Dedenne. We've seen him look through his deck multiple times already in the last couple of turns, looking for some sort of potential answer that he has yet to have found. Reshiram and Charizard needs 4 energies, and you currently only have access to 1, so it's not looking like it's going to be a strong one there.
18 fire energy just wasn't enough.
That's got to be what he was thinking right now. I could see him just shaking his head going like,
Only I would have played 20.
Or even 19, you know? That sweet little middle spot.
So difficult.
Yeah, who would have thought that 18 fire energy was just going to be one short?
Yeah, it all goes back to the first couple turns where Tord had to Dedi change away a lot of fire energy. His hands were just horrible. I think he discarded something like 6 energy in the first couple turns just to those Dedi change abilities. He had no choice. He was hoping at some point he'd be able to use Victini Prism Star to shuffle them all back into his deck. But he just never got the opportunity. He ended up being exactly 1 energy off, and he's going to promote this Reshiram and Charizard GX and say, have at it, Shintaro. All that stands between him and the finals is retreating to this Heatran GX using the Burning Road ability after charging up here.
There is that charge up. Yes, that is looking like it's going to be enough energies. He's double counting his Shintaro. It looks like that's going to be it. Heatran does become the active Pokemon and now uses Burning Road. Burning Road brings all of these energies, and that means it is game. Shintaro Ito defeats Tord Reklev 2-0. One big attack out of Shintaro was enough. Finally, after Tord was forced to come to the conclusion that he just did not have what it took to take the final couple of prizes.